Alright, it is 3 minutes to the top of the hour, and this is KUTV. Indeed, we have much and more lined up for you, including our top discussion tonight. So, with placement completed into the university, and of course there is some variable here with the learners expected to join next month. 18 courses, degree courses rather, has registered one student each, with a staggering 104 programs registering a maximum of 10 students. Now, raising the question over the viable of these said courses. Well, that is a discussion that we'll be having tonight with my guest, that is Paul Ngugi, chairman of ENGO and Human Resource Roundtable. We just want to take a look at what could be the reason behind this, and that discussion will be coming to you in just a while. But our reporters has been up and running to bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of politics, business and sport, and this is what to expect in the next 1 hour.
Tonight, not under my watch, President William Ruto vows to end insecurity and banditry in North Rift, putting perpetrators on notice. Clean and palatable. Ruto and TikTok CEO broke a deal to regulate TikTok content to adhere to community guidelines. Nyayo House is a scene of crime. Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki says he will leave no stone unturned in a passport fiasco at Nyayo House. Plus, door-to-door campaign. Ministry of Health begins a 5-day polio vaccination drive targeting 7.4 million children.
Alright, Samuel Kelo is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is AUMA Evans. Remember, we welcome your feedback on this program and we'll be sampling it at the tail end of the broadcast. You can talk to us on all of our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya. You can tweet us at KUTV_Kenya at AUMA Evans. Remember to use the hashtag #PrimeTimeNews. Now, let me take you, or rather let us begin our bulletin tonight in, that is Baringo County, where President William Ruto, together with his deputy Rigathi Gachagua and other Kenya Kwanza leaders, have today toured Nyandarua and Baringo County to launch government projects. President Ruto, who believes that the road network will help build the economy of the country, has also called for the slamming of brakes on empty political talks. Our very own Israel Omwai opens our bulletin tonight with that report.
President William Ruto had a working tour today of Nyandarua and Baringo counties. Accompanied by local leaders and national figures, the head of state launched various development projects in the two counties. President Ruto began by commissioning the tarmacking of Maili Kumi Kariamu Road and Mairo Inya Salama Roads in Daragwa constituency, Nyandarua County, a county that fully embraced his hustler political narrative in the last elections. While addressing the residents of Shamata Ward, the president reiterated that it is time to tune out the politics, adding that his government is committed to delivering its promises to the people.
Nimeambia watu wacheni kusumbua wananchi na maandamano na ujinga. Sisi turudi mashambani, tuzalishe chakula, tupunguze gharama ya maisha, Kenya iweze kwenda mbele na tuondoe aibu ya njaa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Tunaelewana? Jambo la pili,
the president's delegation during the tour, including his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, lauded President Ruto's effort in rebuilding the economy.
Mkutano ya mwisho nilifanya hapa, wakaniambia niende nikusaidie niwaachie. Si ndio mliniambia? Si nilifika hapa saa 12. Mkaniambia nisipoteze wakati hapa.
Hapa niwachie nyinyi niende nikasaidie rais. Na mkaamuka mkapiga kura vizuri. Tumekuja na rais kusema asante. Na hatuja kuja mkono mtupu.
Later, the president pitched tent in Kabartonjo, Baringo County, where he presided over issuance of title deeds and winded up his day by commissioning tarmacking of roads in the county.
Rais wetu, mimi nakushukuru sana kwa sababu yale yote tulisema wakati wa campaign, hayo yote ndio unatimiza. Rais wetu, maendeleo ndio inadumu. Maendeleo ya barabara ndio inadumu, ya maji na hayo mengine.
Ruto, aware of the ever-present insecurity giving his host sleepless nights, also promised that his administration is committed to curb the ever-present cattle rustling and insecurity in the region. Israel Omai, KUTV.
Elsewhere, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua assured the Ma community of government support in enhancing their milk production. United Democratic Alliance UDA Party Secretary General Cleophas Malala, who accompanied the DP, noted that the UDA party is ready and willing to work together with the opposition politicians who have so far joined the party. The two spoke while attending the final day of Ma Cultural Week in Narok County. Dorothy Mosioki with more details.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua graced the closing of Ma Cultural Week in Narok County. The event was made a success through collaborative efforts between Narok, Kajiado and Samburu governors in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. The second in command urged the Ma community to cooperate with the Kenya Kwanza government for the development of the country. UDA Party Secretary General Cleophas Malala noted the party's readiness to work with the opposition politicians who have joined the ruling outfit. Malala also celebrated the Ma women for their efforts in arts industry, adding that the government will put up a factory to enhance the industry. Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife Penina Malonza pushed for an embrace of the culture for economic growth.
Na nashukuru mumejulikana na mataifa na rais wetu alianza kuwapea certificate, kwa hivyo mkae mkijua hiyo mila imeandikwa ulimwengu mzima na hakuna atakayewaimbia kama vile tuliibiwa Kiondo na Kikoi.
Ma Cultural Week aimed at showcasing Maasai culture as it is treasured internationally. Similar event is expected to be held in Samburu County next year. Dorothy Mosioka, KUTV.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has today held a virtual meeting with TikTok CEO Shu Zichu, together with the Trade and Investment Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria. This is in response to the controversy surrounding TikTok content in the country. President Ruto, who has committed to work with the TikTok reviewing and monitoring its content to ensure that it adheres to community guidelines in a bid to protect children from offensive and inappropriate content. To cement this commitment in moderating content, TikTok CEO has agreed to set up an office in Kenya an office in Kenya to coordinate its operation in Africa, while promising to hire more Kenyans to work for the platform. Right, Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Professor Kithure Kindiki, has threatened to close down Nyayo House, the building that houses the Immigration Department, due to rampant corruption causing backlog in the issuance of passport. While addressing the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Internal Security, Kindiki assured an end to the backlog through additional interventions, including recruiting more staff and injecting more resources to the department. And as Munene Weru reports, more than 50,000 applicants are yet to receive their passport months after making applications.
Public outcry on the passports backlog catapulted to a parliamentary grilling of Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, who announced the plan to seal off Nyayo House, declaring it a sin of crime. Nyayo House, Nairobi, hosts the Department of Immigration, which is tasked with issuing passports, a process that has derailed much to the inconvenience of thousands of Kenyans. Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki now attributes this tormenting backlog to wanton corruption, vowing to flush out rogue officers and clean up the critical department.
I'll spend a bit more time physically to provide the leadership that we require and clean up that Nyayo House place. Many Kenyans have suffered from that place. And we will take very drastic action. If need be, we'll seal off the place and declare it a scene of crime.
Additionally, Kindiki cited limited resources as a major contributor to the passports nightmare.
We had a problem. The Department of Immigration did not have appropriations in aid. It was generating a lot of income, but it goes to Treasury and they are left there. They can't buy even a printer worth 100 million, yet they are producing nearly 20 billion a year. So we have got some appropriations in aid now. We are increasing the capacity, and I believe by the next, when I give my next public accountability statement in a month's time, I will have reports on where we are. We will clear that backlog.
Also in the table was the nuisance on Kenyan roads caused by over-the-board police roadblocks. Kindiki revealed plans by President William Ruto to get rid of all roadblocks by 1st of November this year.
We are eventually going to get rid of all roadblocks of whatever nature by 1st of November. Last month, or actually early this month, the President directed that within 90 days, we must remove all roadblocks.
In the parliamentary appearance, Professor Kindiki said recent security setbacks derailed many of his functions, and that now that sanity has been restored in the country, he is now revving his engines to stamp out corruption, sounding a warning to officials at Nyayo House to either change their ways or crumble by the crack of his whip. Muneneweru, KUTV.
Right, now switching gears to health matters. The first round of three-phase polio vaccination campaign kick off today with an initial focus on counties with the highest risk of polio transmission. This comes after 6 polio virus cases were detected in children refugee camps in Garissa. The Ministry of Health seeks to reach 7.4 million children countrywide, with 1.8 million children from 4 counties. The first phase of the exercise will run until next Monday. Our very own that is health reporter Julie Ongaki witnessed the exercise and prepared the following report for us.
The Ministry of Health, in conjunction with the World Health Organization, has kicked off the first round of polio vaccination. The campaign targets 1.8 million children in 4 counties, including Garissa, Nairobi, Kiambu, and Kajiado. This campaign that targets children below the age of 5 years will see the teams crisscross the vast county to have the children vaccinated. Garissa Governor Nathif Jama, who was the chief guest during the Garissa launch, urged parents to use the opportunity to avail their children for vaccination, noting that polio is a highly contagious viral disease affecting children.
The health department is quite supportive. They are willing to give us all support we require. Let's go out there and ensure we come out. This year is the decisive year for our county, to ensure that this campaign is taken very well to the villages so that our people can be well informed about it.
Dr. Martins Levinas, representing World Health Organization, said that the organization will continue putting the necessary resources in the county, especially in strengthening systems that will allow the county to respond to health emergencies like cholera, polio, and other diseases.
Immunization services, because it is key to ensuring population immunity and prevention of the polio virus and other massive preventable diseases. This requires that all eligible children should be routinely vaccinated and receive complete doses of childhood vaccines, including the oral polio vaccine.
Kenya has been free of any wild poliovirus circulation for a decade. However, there is need to put more effort so as to eradicate the virus from the country's population and the world at large. Julie Ongaki, KUTV.
Right. We are due to our first break here on KUTV Primetime News. Of course, indeed, many more to follow, including our topic of discussion tonight, where we are talking and look, or rather we are diving into the matters with education. And remember, there is some staggering and rather disturbing figures as far as choice of course is concerned. And of course, to help us dissect into this particular topic is Paul Ngugi, the chairman of International Non-Governmental Organizations Human Resource Roundtable. And that discussion will follow after this break. See you in a while.
Sell the hotel without me? You're dreaming, Geoffrey.
So, Chantal, I'm assuming that you have a better idea.
Yes, we agreed to wait for the marriage of Nambi and Ziwa before making any decision.
Listen, I have had enough of waiting for that girl. I'm sending her away immediately to become a nun.
And what a saintly role model you are, Geoffrey, aren't you? Why is everyone forgetting that I'm the goddamn victim around here? Geoff left me.
Zahara, stop it this once. Your daughter is right. You cannot be seen to be the cause of this sleepover.
Can't believe Nambi's leaving. What am I going to do? Bro, it's a good time to take a break. But how could she do this to me, bro? It's not fair. Just wait till Nambi gets back and then you'll see. I can't do that. You have to do it. She's mad. I mean, just imagine if it was you.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
The folks are going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pass kuvuku. People pass ni idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili, ndio inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
This is my jam down.
I said my name, I will never give up. Na hata nikisota the way. Show me something.
Everybody wanna feel like me.
You was like a river.
Real thing, if I never mama, I wouldn't believe it.
Hear me when I say just like.
Right, welcome back, and this is where we pick our discussion of the day. Remember, it's all matters to do with education and the choice of courses. Well, in 2021, the government realized a list of courses that were ranked priority areas based on the Big Four agenda: real estate, build environment and design courses, construction, agriculture and food science were among the courses ranked top. However, KUPS data paints a picture of a shunned courses, raising questions over the varsity program that were considered significant. Joining us in the discussion is Paul Ngugi, chairman of International Non-Governmental Organization and Human Resource Roundtable. Well, thank you so much for making time to speak to us on very important topic. Well, I'll begin by asking you this question. What could be the reason behind this, boycott of courses? I mean, in one course, like 18 courses registering one student each. And of course, a staggering number of 104 courses, program registering a maximum of 10 students. What is happening?
I would actually even say that even actually the students who are actually supposed to pick these particular courses are absolutely not even aware of these particular courses.
Okay.
And this could be because even of the lack of cascading this information to the relevant people, and even just lack of that information and knowledge even to the teachers who even help these students in picking some of these courses. So I think that would be the first thing that I may want to say, the lack of information. There's no cascading of this particular information to the people. And even the people who are actually helping the students to pick these particular courses also are not even aware. They don't even have this particular knowledge. Yeah.
All right. So what should one consider before applying for these courses?
I think a couple of things which are very important is that I was just even looking at the World Economic Forum report for 2023.
All right.
And one of the drivers is even about technological innovation for the next 5 years. That's what actually will be driving courses and even business transformation.
Okay.
So one of the things I think which needs to be there is even actually to be aligned to the trends and even reading of these particular reports by the relevant people. That's quite important. So secondly, even after reading these particular reports, we are aware it's not everybody who will actually read these particular reports. But however, the people responsible for passing this knowledge to the students need to be educated. This need actually for greater awareness. And the other thing I just want to say is that people need to be involved, even in the developing of these particular courses, industry experts among others.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. When you look at the Big Four agenda, or rather the courses that were lined along the Big Four agenda, one of them, when you look at the real estate, we have construction there, agriculture. It's really funny to notice that in a course like, let's say, dryland, and we have seen courses like even the blue economy, such courses registering one student, and yet these are courses that has great potential that student can actually tap into it. Now, this begs the question, is it, even as we talk about the lack of the understanding, is there, a genuine, or rather a gap that exists between, the labor force and actually the field that links these courses?
Definitely there is, because even when it comes, for instance, to the identification of these particular 4 goals or the agenda, which is very important because a country must be driven by a particular vision or a particular national agenda. What lacks now is the practical approach, the pragmatic approach now between this particular agenda and perhaps even now the people actually who develop these particular courses. Because if there was, then it would have been very easy. Okay, for instance, in case I look at even issues about dryland, developing of dryland.
All right.
I come from Kajiado, a county which is quite dry, and where this will be arable. So I'm just thinking about in the sense that if there would be partnership between now the government and, for instance, even other people, other collaborators, this will be much easier, because this now will be cascaded with people. We have dry land, but it's still arable, and therefore this will drive the agenda for people now to take relevant courses even in developing of the dry land.
Okay.
And perhaps just quickly to add is also the issue, like for instance, if we've talked about real estate, which is actually even now actually aligned now to even to the new agenda of housing, which is quite important. But now there's an existing gap between now that particular agenda and even the people who are supposed to undertake this particular area going forward. Yeah. So I think it's actually the existing gap in terms of breaking it down and also making it quite practical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a real question here. How does the labor force look like? The Kenyan labor force?
Of course, we are all aware that there is growing unemployment in this country. And one of the things is that people actually come from college, come from universities, they graduate with fantastic degree, with distinction. But when they go to the market, they find that things have shifted completely. And therefore, where they actually can enter into the market, things are different. And so one of the reasons is that as people actually are taking these particular courses, they only align, for instance, is that I need to finish my degree so that I can become an engineer. But when you finish actually these particular courses, there are no engineering jobs, but there are other jobs that actually you can actually fit in. So there's actually that problem of like, are you employable? The lack of actually employability skills is actually what lacks. because you could fit in a particular area, but you can't because of perhaps how you've been trained, and also how also you have been modeled. And in most cases, you have not been mentored also as you come out. There are certain opportunities actually that you can come in. And just also to quickly add is that also the lack of entrepreneurship as actually is go through the education line lacks, because there would be something that you could even be doing even before you graduate, so that also you can fit within the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I've asked this question is because when you look at, based on the CUPS, of course, data, when you look at the course like education, which has the highest number of enrollment, we have commerce, then we have technology there. These are, it's like these are some of the courses that many students believe to be, of course, let's say marketable in the workplace. And this, does it, pinpoint the challenges in the labor market, or rather in the workforce, that drive these students to actually determine, or rather decide, this is the type of course that I want and this is not the course that I want?
Absolutely. For instance, in case I look at even like education, I can even quickly attribute it to some of the pronouncements that we had, especially the last 1 year, where there's been an existing gap, especially for teachers. And I think what has been lacking actually is more about money. There was no budgetary allocation for teachers. Now, in the last 1 year, look at the pronouncement that the government wants to employ as many teachers as possible. And you can actually see the surge. Quite a number of people actually were employed. That, in my view, has led to a number of people now saying, I think the gap and the opportunities are in education. Secondly, I'm also looking at the emerging trend, especially of privatization of schools. There are more private schools now coming up in various places. In fact, in some of the counties, actually, there are more private schools than actually government school. So this is actually another opportunity which is coming in. And therefore, people are feeling like, upon graduation, I'll get actually a job straight on. There, I can actually start from somewhere. And when I actually look at the area of technology, there is actually an emerging issue about artificial intelligence. The fact that actually businesses have been driven by technological innovation. People actually see a gap in that already. Because even before actually we actually even graduate, there are certain opportunities. You can even start actually developing apps. You can actually start now developing website, among other things. So that's actually another area in terms of opportunities. So when people actually see that, then they find that I think it's easy actually to pick actually a course which is actually in technology. In commerce, when we are dealing especially with this particular generation, they feel like instead of me only just going for to get a job, I could do something. And especially in case I have knowledge in finance, I have knowledge in commerce, I have knowledge in marketing, I can even start actually marketing for my services, even the products that I'll be developing. So quickly people see an opportunity there going forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, do you think it's about time we go back to the drawing board? Because statistics itself is disturbing and worrisome, even to the labor force. For example, the courses that have registered, low number of intake. In the near future, should we go with this trend? So what will become of such industries that depend on labor force from such courses, and yet the turnout is quite significantly low? Is it about now we go back to the drawing board and restructure some of our courses, or rather education system, to fit in the labor market?
Definitely, very important. I think it's just about time that people should stop actually just being in the boardroom or in the ivory tower and developing course content, developing courses which they believe will be fit for purpose. And maybe even to go back, from what I actually understand is that some times ago, and especially at the dawn of independence, the industry captains actually were involved in developing the content, developing actually what is relevant for the market. So it's just about time that we need to have actually the decision makers, the key stakeholders, not actually ignoring this generation, because they know exactly what is there. They need to come to the boardroom and start developing these things together. And there needs to be deliberate effort by the key stakeholders on thinking about the importance of research and development.
All right.
Because actually it comes up with the trends. And then the other thing that we cannot ignore, especially when I was looking at some of the reports, the World Economic Reports, and which also concentrates on surveying quite a number of key organizations, key economies. It's very important also to look at some of these particular reports because they actually give projections. They give a particular forecast. Like actually I had mentioned, for the next 5 years, the driving force, especially when it comes to business transformation, will be technology. It doesn't mean after 5 years, technology will not be important. However, for minimum literacy, you will need to be technologically savvy going forward. So looking at these particular reports and sitting down with key stakeholders will be quite important. And then I think I had also earlier mentioned the importance actually of creating awareness for educators, for the teachers. I know sometimes in school we have guidance and counseling teachers, but to what extent also do they understand especially what actually is changing? So the Ministry of Education and the key stakeholders really ensuring that there is actually cascading of this information and training people. And I know sometimes also we have mentors who also go to high schools to advise students, but to what extent do we have standardization of this particular approach?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you actually spoke to my curiosity when you talk about research and development. And this is some of the areas that many people could actually tap into this potential. Well, from human resource point of view, what is it that employers look out for, especially for the employees?
Okay, and I'll even talk about especially currently and even going forward. Employers are looking for employees who can also multitask, who do not necessarily have to do one thing, and then that's over.
All right.
They're looking at people who actually can do more than actually one role or more than one task. People who actually can understand the language of the business quickly, who can represent the organization irrespective of the function that actually they hold or the role they hold. They can get into marketing and speak the marketing language. Also, employers also looking for employees who actually can engage, can communicate. And therefore the rising, I know before we used to talk about the soft skills, people are talking about the human skills. You may know so much about your technical area, but can you engage? Can you communicate? Because you can't see, you just sit perhaps in your corner and not necessarily communicate and engage with people. So going beyond your technical expertise to do more things, to engage, to communicate, and also to understand the business language. That's quite important. And then finally, the other thing also employers also are looking for is also people who also are aware about the industry trends. The people who read, they research, they are able to go to the boardroom and talk about those particular trends and make them relevant to their industry, make them relevant to their organization. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, one of the things we cannot actually, fold our hands or even be blind to the fact that most of the decisions that, have led to this, now the state that we are in, is because of the labor market outside there. Majority of people go to school, graduate with skills that are needed, but at the end of the day, they don't get job. So when information spreads like this course, or rather this field, is quite very difficult to get employment. So that discourage people from actually enrolling to such courses because they will see this is a waste of time and resources and money for that matter. So from employers' point of view, do you think this is a challenge that should be passed to you? The ball should be passed on your table so that you can address this and even see the potential where maybe you can try to address such things to see that the next time the next generation of learners that are joining into the labor market actually have the skills that employer is looking out for.
And I think it's also coming at the right time because now the approach that we are getting is more about competencies, right, actually from the foundation.
Okay.
It's about actually now thinking about creative thinking, being analytical, design thinking, more about even solving complex problems as opposed maybe just to cramming and waiting for the exams so that the assessment is a little bit more continuous.
All right.
So I believe this is the right opportunity that is coming, and it's very important that we have this particular staggering statistic that we are having, and also the right time for even the key stakeholders, including even the human resource practitioners and the educators, and also even the political leaders now coming together and say, I think this is enough. We need to address this particular issue, because what's happening, there's nothing as bad as going for 5 years, 4 years, and then when you come out, you don't have an opportunity going forward. It discourages actually the people who are much younger than you are.
Yeah. Well, hold on to that thought. Of course, we are taking another short break. When we come back, still the discussion still continues. Remember, we are talking about the causes and the choices that leads to one to choose one cause over the other, and that is the discussion we are having right here. So we're taking a short break. When we come back, we'll still be diving into this particular discussion.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani, endapo ndio mwanzo unajiunga nami. Leo nitakuwa na mapishi ya kipwani, kutakuwa na mambo matamu sana.
Kwa leo tulikuwa tumepanga tutatia chakula na upishi aina ya snacks inaitwa samosa.
Acha mwanzo ninyunyizie hii limao kwanza. Nisikie pia mimi nisikie ladha yake na utamu wake. Ninyunyize limao. Okay.
What are some of the ways through which you can develop these skills so that you are comfortably fitting into the job?
You have to put yourself in positions where you are uncomfortable in the sense that you are not clear about what to do.
Because I used to work a corporate job before. So when I left, I happened to visit someone's farm around this area.
So this project is called Security Breach Detector and Readiness Familiarize. It is meant to be used to detect, detonate explosives.
We'll tackle all the tough issues, discuss all the weird moments, and hopefully share a few laughs along the way.
Right, welcome back, and the discussion continues. Remember Paul Ngugi, I beg your pardon for that. That is International Non-Governmental Organization and Human Resource Roundtable is here with us, and we are just talking about the issues, or rather the reasons that will lead to some, learners actually shunning some courses over the others, and this is very disturbing owing to the number of statistics and given the fact that it is one of the big four agendas that was put there, and courses that many thought this could be very instrumental even to the learners as far as the building of the nation is concerned. Yes, Mr. Ngugi was saying something before we went on break.
Cool, thank you. I think it was something to do with what needs to be done, perhaps just going forward. And one of the things that I was saying is that there will be these particular courses which have been identified, but I see a gap in terms of especially people knowing exactly what does it entail.
All right.
And demystifying it going forward, which I think needs to be done. I think there needs to be a deliberate effort by the young talents who will be undertaking these particular courses, knowing exactly what they need to undertake. And that can increase their appetite for taking some of these courses, which may look irrelevant, but perhaps when they're actually properly explained, they will actually look relevant.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, talking about the appetite for these courses, what is the nature of workforce and how adaptable is it?
I think what happens, even especially with COVID-19, we used to talk about the future of work, but that was accelerated, completely brought forward by quite a number of years. So in fact, when we talk about adaptability, this actually is very, very important, because the workforce now is no longer looking at where there are physical spaces. There's actually the space even of remote working completely. So in these particular cases, actually, quite a number of workforce are looking for opportunities which are more flexible. They are looking for opportunities which can handle hybrid kind of a space, where sometimes I can go to the office, sometimes I can actually work from home. So the workspace has completely shifted. You can actually work from anywhere. The most important thing the workforce is looking for is the output and the impact of what you're doing, but not just being seen around. The other thing which is quite important in terms of the workforce is looking at what is now being called work-life integration. Can I integrate my life in my work? Because that never is. It used to be like, for instance, just come to work. We don't care about actually your life. Now it's about, in fact, there are some people actually who resign from their job in terms of the workforce to look for opportunities which are a bit more flexible, where actually you can actually accommodate even your family life and even just your also mental health. The other thing which is very important in terms of the workforce is about inclusivity. Inclusivity and diversity, which never used to be there in the past. I think now it's more about an inclusive approach across even generation, not necessarily even in terms of the gender. Yeah.
All right. Well, when you talk about the input, and I now want to draw your attention to some of the rejected courses. One of them we have like forestry, dryland, the way I said, fishery, courses with great potential. But let's talk about mostly the one that deals with the climate action. Now, we are talking about, measures to mitigate, climate. And this is area that even the government is really focusing. Remember, there is a campaign to at least plant 15 billion trees. And these are some of the areas, or rather the courses that probably many people will now tap to those potential, now owing that to the fact that there is vigorous campaign towards climate change. Don't you think this is where maybe most of these learners will be missing the point?
Absolutely. And remember, Kevin, what I mentioned is that some of these courses sometimes are not actually rejected because of lack of knowledge. There needs to be actually alignment in terms of the relevance between this particular agenda. Like now we are talking about 15 billion trees which needs to be planted. We need people who actually needs to be trained on forestry. But this information has not been passed in terms of being cascaded. And when it comes even to picking of these particular choices, who are involved in some of the cases? Difficult, because sometimes the people who are involved could be peers who also don't understand some of these particular courses, and they will go for some of those courses which are a bit more popular because of the reasons that I have talked about, like for instance, cultural beliefs. Some of them could be religious beliefs, among others. It may be even, for instance, upon certain graduation, there are certain people who got jobs that others did not get. So that lack of information on especially the relevance of this particular courses is missing. And then the alignment of these particular goals, the national goals, with the new courses. Because I look at forestry would be so important, especially aligned to the green economy, where we are going. It needs to be aligned even with courses like environment. People need actually to be informed. They need to be greater awareness of these particular courses, and people will actually take it. So I think actually we missed a point, especially this year, in terms of especially aggressively aligning the key national agendas with the courses. And you can even look at now the dry land. We are talking about food security, and yet there are people who are not taking actually courses on food security.
Okay.
So it's a bit paradoxical.
All right. Yeah. Well, you talk about lack of information, people not being, aware, as many might say, being sensitized. But who is to be blamed for this?
I would say, one, the people who develop these particular courses, and I would talk about, for instance, in this, definitely they are developed by key stakeholders in the academic realm, universities and also colleges. I think I would say there's a problem in people working in silos. In most cases, they would be like, yes, we saw it. We saw perhaps certain leaders saying we need these particular courses to be developed. But when it comes actually to working together, there's more actually people working in silos. I would have suggested that instead of maybe the academic gurus sitting together and developing this particular content, I think even working even with the younger people will even actually help in terms of even having some catchy words in terms of even what do we call these particular programs. Maybe it has been forestry for a very long time, from 1963. Right. If you include actually the younger people, they will come with a bit better words, better contents to make it even more practical going forward. I think so. The lack of inclusivity is actually what actually has led into this. Okay. Yeah.
Well, when you talk about the lack of inclusivity and of course lack of enough education, sensitization, so what is the role of employer in all this?
I feel like, for instance, the employer sits and wait for people to be churned out, and when they come out, that's when you take over, especially as the employer, which in my view is a bit wrong. The employer needs to be involved, especially at the stage even of either developing these particular courses, to say things have changed out there. So this is actually our input. And in these particular cases, I'm just thinking about they need to be a place for instance, the Institute of Human Resource Management. They need to be a place for instance, FKE in this particular conversation. There need to be conversation for the trade unions. So there need to be some kind of caucus in terms of like what is changing. This is our input going forward. So what I feel sometimes is that the employer waits until people actually graduate, and then you say, this is your bunch. And the other thing that I would say is that the employer also can be involved at a particular stage, especially during the mentoring stage, coaching stage, when the students also are in the university, coming with the industry expertise, coming with the practical information, and even helping especially these particular students now in this particular journey, and really being practical, saying, as you graduate, you may have done this, but things have changed, and therefore this is a journey that actually you can take. So having more practical mentoring programs, like the Institute of Human Resource Management has started a program which is called Transcend, but in this particular case it will be the people already who have graduated in mentoring them to be a bit more experienced.
Okay, briefly, and this will serve as your parting shot. When you talk from employers' point of view, don't you think it's now time to kick the ball? And of course, how will you, of course, give your solution even as we wind up this particular discussion?
I think in most cases we say opportunities, you don't have to for the opportunities to come to your door. This is the right opportunity for employers. This is the right opportunity for the key stakeholders who are waiting for people to graduate to join them, to really work very closely with tertiary institutions, to knock on their doors. And I believe this is possible. I have seen it working. I have been involved in mentoring in some of the universities. Knock on their doors, come together, because this is our country. We need to ensure that the people actually who are out there are employable, and also they are practical, they are creative thinkers. So I would say let the employers not wait for the university to invite them. They can actually extend that particular invitation, or they can actually knock on the doors, because if they don't do that and they wait for these particular people to graduate, then that's a bit fatal.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Ngugi, asante sana for making time.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was Paul Ngugi, that is the chairman, International Non-Governmental Organization and Human Resource. And of course, now moving on to other stories of the day. Members of Parliament have today resumed debate on the implementation of the sugar bill. According to parliamentarians, the government needs to privatize sugar companies and introduce 4% sugar development levy to help revive the industries. Additionally, a sugar board is being touted as an antidote ailing the sugar sector. Edward Nyamu followed the proceedings and filed the following report.
The sugar bill, which was tabled in Parliament by Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe, featured in today's sitting where legislators debated on the implementation of the bill, which aims at reviving Kenya's sugar sector. According to the members of Parliament, there is a need to formulate a sugar board which will be in charge of reviewing the sector, with Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi insisting the sugar sector has been torn down by cartels in the government.
How? Today I will name them. You are prodding me, so I will name them. How do you take over land that belongs to the public, the size of over 9,000 acres? I am told they were being assisted by some of my who? I don't know about that. But the fact of the matter is that unless and until the issue of Miwani Sugar Company land is addressed, there will be no reforms in the sugar sector, I can tell you. Because Miwani represents the ugly side of the sugar sector.
The legislators has, however, lauded the putting in place of the sugar board, saying that it will be effective to farmers for they will be well represented by directors sitting in the sugar board. According to Martin Peters, MP for Ndiwa, once the sugar bill is enacted, the proposed research institute will be tasked with researching on the new seedlings and also viable funding model.
Contract farming has always been disputed, but this bill provides a tribunal which is going to preside over this. I think that is a progress. In closing, because I would like also members to be brief so that many members can finish this. If this is done, we'll have farm improvement among them, including Dewa, which is the main income is sugarcane. We'll also have farm inputs cheaper for farmers to afford. The farming operations, which is very difficult, sometimes the weighing.
Price stabilization has also been on the table, with the legislators saying that the financing of farmers should be reviewed to ensure that farmers benefit from their produce. On importation of sugar, farmer societies have been accused of playing a big role in facilitating importation to avoid graft cases. Legislators are calling on the government to ensure that farmers benefit fully by putting them on the center stage of the sugar sector. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
All right, now on to corridors of justice. Chief Justice Martha Koome has today unveiled the new Maralal Court building in Samburu County. She also launched the e-filing system Witness Protection Agency Office, LOIP Alternative Justice System, a suit and a High Court sub-registry. Now, the Chief Justice has promised to open Wamba and Baragoi Court in Samburu County, which will reduce traveling distance and cost for the litigants.
In an effort to strengthen the justice system, Chief Justice Martha Koome has today inaugurated Samburu County's Maralal Law Court building, High Court Sub-Registry, the LOIP Alternative Justice System model, and the e-filing system. The launch of the Alternative Justice System is expected to make justice more accessible to the people of Maralal, as it acknowledges and incorporates the traditional methods of resolving disputes.
This is not just a building made of brick and mortar. It is unveiling a beacon of hope. If Samburu was ever forgotten, This becomes our symbol of justice and a testament of our unwavering commitment to bring justice system closer to our people.
To further cement efforts in improving the judicial system in Samburu, Chief Justice Martha Koome has promised to establish more courts in Wamba and Baragoi, a step that will help in reducing traveling costs for litigants.
I will come here again and again to launch the court in Wamba, to launch the court in Baragoi, and to make sure we have spread justice in Samburu, and that Samburu becomes the county of the future.
I want to ask our parliaments and our budget committees to make sure that judiciary is well funded, just like parliament is well funded, because we need kotini kama hizi, and they can't run without money. I want to ask you, utashughulikia hapa. You started very well with the registry. Weka judge hapa, particularly ya mashamba.
Samburu Senator Steve Legwe has commended the inauguration of the new Marlal Court, which he claims will also provide job opportunities to the locals.
Najua pia kutakuwa na mambo ya employment. Tukikiwa na kotini kama hii hapa, kutakuwa na wale ambao wataandikwa kazi, wataajiriwa, receptionist, wale ambao wataandikwa kuchukua simu, ama kuna simu ile simu ya kuchukuliwa, kila mtu ako na simu yake siku hizi. Wale wanafagia, wale wanaosha kwa kotini. Sisi pia tunaomba kama viongozi representative wao pia kumbuka wakazi wa Samburu, wale ambao wanaishi hapa kwetu.
The launch of the new Marlal Court is expected to birth an accessible, efficient, cost-effective and expeditious system of justice in Samburu County. Charles Kirubi, KUTV.
Right, we take yet another short break. When we come back, it's all about sporting news.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Right, welcome back. It's now time for sporty action. Over 250 amateur golfers are expected to grace the inaugural Institute of Public Finance tournament at the Rural Golf Course this weekend. Some of the big names expected include Jefferson Karaoke, Ruth Kamau, and Chege Karaoke. The three have been outstanding in the previous tournament held at the 18-hole course, and they will be out to battle for the top honors. IFP CEO James Muraguri said that IPF will continue to sponsor such tournaments in future as a way of building the next generation of golfing talent. Now switching focus to volleyball, the Kenya volleyball team Malkia Strikers produced an amazing comeback to beat host Cameroon 3-1 in an epic semi-finals match that at the ongoing African Nation Volleyball Championship in Yaoundé, Cameroon. Malkia Strikers were beaten 25-27 in the first set before fighting back to win 25-14, 25-11 and 25-18. Malkia Strikers are now ranked first in Africa in the International Volleyball ranking and will take on the Pharaohs of Egypt in the final set for tomorrow from 1 p.m. East African time. Alright, now to athletics. Kenya trio of world record holder Beatrice Chepkoech, Commonwealth Games champion Jacqueline Chepkoech and world junior champion Faith Cherotich booked their slot in the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase race at the ongoing athletics championship in Budapest, Hungary. Meanwhile, 1,500 meters champion Faith Kipyegon also booked the ticket for the finals of the 5,000 meters race after finishing second behind the rival Sifan Hassan of Netherlands. Both races will take place on Saturday this weekend as Kenya seek to haul more medals in the World Athletics Championship. Alright, sports done, business done, politics done, and we are done. So that's a wrap up. Thank you so much for keeping us a company in the last 55 minutes or so. My name is AUMA Evans and our sign language interpreter has been Sami Okello. Until next time, it's a bye-bye and God bless.